What's up, everybody?
Hello, Buddha Judge.
You
That
know,
guy's
I
supposedly crushing shit, right?
I mean, the media's trying to make it seem like he is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's just top down bullshit, dog. Like that's what they do. They hit you with like
Here's who we're gonna shove down your throat.
yeah, like as they try to shove a candidate down your throat, they
Hmm.
pretend like they're just calling balls and strikes. You see what I'm saying?
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, they act like, this guy's surgeon. Let's write like 76 fawning fucking articles about him.
Hmm.
And then what happens is they actually end up controlling the narrative a little bit because when they start writing all those fawning articles, then some people are like, oh, yeah, I guess we have a fucking booty judge. Why not? Yeah, why not?
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's what happens. But he's still like in third or fourth in the
Oh, really?
polls. Yeah, and somebody made a great point that I got to bring up right now. Like, all of these polls are including Biden, and Biden hasn't officially announced yet. Now, Biden is going
Oh,
to
that
run.
motherfucker's got to be announcing.
No, yeah, he's definitely going to run. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
But there's a reason why every poll is including Biden, even though he hasn't announced yet. That is, it's kind of like a little bit of a sneaky trick to hide how far in front Bernie really is.
Mm.
Because
Because
Bernie
some people would vote for him.
Bernie's numbers right now, the most recent numbers that just came out, Bernie's leading, even leading Biden. When for a long time it was Biden number one and
Oh,
then
really?
Bernie number two. Yeah. Now you always
Why
got to
does
look at
Biden have such a big following like
no, no,
that?
no. Again, misleading because what they do
Uh-huh.
in these polls most of the time is they oversample older Democrats and
Mm.
older because what they do is it goes based off of who's a likely voter, and in most elections, older people vote. So the
Hmm.
pollsters are going to do a sample size where it's a lot more older voters.
Got
But the
it.
thing about Bernie is he's a game changer in the same way Obama was a game changer because he got young people out to vote. So your sample size should include way more young people. So the ones that show Biden leading, I think, are already kind of misleading because they're not doing the proper demographic breakdown. But putting that aside, even with the shitty breakdown, now Bernie's even leading those.
Damn.
So if you got Biden out of there, it's like Bernie by a mile and a half, maybe even over 50% in the
Shit.
field of fucking a zillion people, and then the closest one behind him is probably Beto still at like fucking 9%,
It's crazy
12%.
how the media does that shit. Because I was having a conversation with my brother and sister, and like we're all Bernie people, but ooh, sorry, excuse me. I think it was my brother and sister that said something in the conversation like, "Yeah, Bernie seems like he's losing his steam, and Buttigieg is, really,
All media, dog.
that's yeah, it's nuts."
Yeah,
And
because go ahead, my bad.
it makes me think like old school back when MTV, um, like it was all hype and shit like that. Like they built up Limp Bizkit to be who they were. They built
Yes,
up like Eminem was great. Don't get me wrong, but they took his shit to another level because they made him that that person. Britney Spears, they did it like they chose like someone who fit the mold of a category that everyone was gonna draw to, whether it was Limp Bizkit or Corn or Marilyn Manson or Eminem, Britney Spears, these boy bands. They all fit a certain category, and MTV and the media like kept putting them out, kept putting them out, kept putting them out, brought them on TRL, brought them on, the radio or their talk shows. And it's just like we were force fed this shit that we were almost just like, yeah, I like Corn. Where like if you probably go back and listen to some of Corn's songs, you're probably like, why did I like this shit? It's almost because like
yeah.
CNN and MSNBC are like, this guy's amazing. He speaks so many languages and he's gay and like.
Now stop and think back to the 2016 Republican primary, okay? What happened back then with the media coverage? It was they tried to say everybody was the person and not Trump. Remember?
Mm-hmm,
Like they
mm-hmm.
were trying to be like Jeb Bush, bro. He's got the name Bush, dog. He was
Well,
a
they're like Marco Rubio. He's the next
They
thing.
started with Jeb. At
Oh,
first, it
really?
was Jeb. It was like, oh, Jeb. He's got the last name Bush. This guy's a powerhouse, man. He was the governor of Florida and stuff. And he's the serious contender, man. And then when it was utterly apparent that Jeb Bush was going nowhere because he was finishing like last in the debates, yes, that's when they shifted to Marco Rubio. And then they tried to push Marco on us, but Marco's like a fucking glitchy robot, and he can't, like, he's such a fake politician that it just didn't work. And there was even a moment there where they tried to prop up, I don't know if you remember this, after one of the debates, Carly Fiorina. Carly Fiorina is just like this female CEO who was a miserable CEO, by the way. She fucking did a terrible job. And then ever since then, she's been involved in like Republican politics, and she's been on these, political shows and talks about politics and stuff. And she had one good showing at a debate, and the media was like, Fiorina, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And then she, of course, went nowhere. And then at the very last minute, dog, when it was clear that like nobody could step to Trump, they were just like, the media was like, we'll take Cruz, fine, we'll take Cruz. And they tried to push him as like, he's the more viable one, he's a serious one. And then what happened was, at the end of the day, it didn't matter how much the media was shitting on Trump, and it didn't matter how much they tried to force feed the Republican base the other candidates. Yeah. Trump ended up winning. And I feel like that's the same shit that's happening on the Democratic side with Bernie, where virtually all of the media coverage of Bernie is negative. They're always saying some negative shit about him, nonstop. That's so true. And it's always so stupid. The shit they're going after him for is always so stupid. And then I think what's going to happen is similar to what happened in 2016 with the Republicans, which
He's just going to steamroll that shit.
I don't know if he's going to steamroll the primary, because I think we're not going to get out of this clean. I think there's going to be some corporatist who makes a run. I don't know which one it is, but point is, I think what's going to happen is they're going to try, like right now they're hedging their bets. They want to go, the media and the Democratic establishment, they want to go hard on Kamala Harris. They want to go hard on Beto O'Rourke, and now they're making clear they're also cool with Buttigieg. So that's the plan. And then I think at the last minute, it might be too late for, I think Bernie, because Bernie has such a lead among the actual people. Like, did you see any of the Fox News town hall?
So I watched highlights, and then I watched the first 25 minutes of it yesterday.
Dude, he crushed it.
He slaughtered.
He crushed it. It was unbelievable. It was like
that's what I'm saying. It's almost so clear. Like, you look at all this shit, and it's like he goes on Fox News and has the whole crowd cheering and going crazy. He seems like the only kryptonite to Donald Trump. Like, when he tweets, it's scared shit. It's not like he's attacking these other people and really hitting them with some stuff that you're like, ooh. Like, he hits Bernie with some shit, and you're like, ooh.
Exactly. His attacks on Bernie just fall flat because they're un-Trumpian, and they just come across as like really petty and stupid. In fact,
his only attack on Bernie, like yesterday, was getting at Fox News, like almost like Fox News. What do you guys do? Like, it was nothing against Bernie, which is almost like, okay, why can't everybody else see that this guy is just fucking, like, he basically won that district last night, and everyone else is still just like, nah, Buttigieg, speaks a different language though. Like,
and how annoying is that? I've seen those headlines, and I'm just like, do you think everybody's like gonna fucking cum themselves over this? Like, look at Buttigieg respond in French to the Notre Dame fire. Look at him talking. It's sending his condolences in French, as if we're all supposed to be like, he spoke in French to them. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. The fuck that got to do with policy, dude?
I mean, it's impressive. Like, the guy,
I don't know. He's a smart dude, but like, that's not grounds to be. That's not like the only thing to be the leader of the country. Like, honestly, I would take somebody who has an average IQ or slightly above average IQ who's going to fight for all the policies that'll help people.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, I don't give a fuck if you're, whatever, you're in Mensa or some shit. Is that what it's called? Mensa, the thing with the high IQ people? Yeah. Like, that's,
and it's usually those suave guys like that are the ones. I mean, like, I don't know. He seems very smart and all of this stuff, but like, it still seems like the job is too big for him. Like, it's a big job for him.
Listen, if Donald Trump proves anything, it's that like literally anybody could be in this position. You know what I mean? And like, not do a good job, but they could be in that position.
But
there's
Donald Trump and Buttigieg, the difference is, and I'll never say his name right. I don't know how to say his name, but
Say
like I feel like
Buttigieg,
he'd be the type of guy to get overwhelmed by the position, where Trump is overwhelmed in the role and just doesn't give a fuck.
No,
Like he's gonna do whatever he wants.
Here's my problem with Buttigieg. He's a pompous prick.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, hell yeah, he's pompous as fuck. Like everything I've seen him say so far is just narcissistic, self-aggrandizing nonsense and technocratic neoliberal garbage. That's everything I've seen him say so far. The thing that I was like, oh, okay, you're done, is when he said he was giving an interview to Vice, and he was like, listen, bro, policy? I think that the Democrats, like, on the left, we focus too much on policy. Like, what we need to do is be more vague and try to connect on a philosophical level to people. And it's like, the fuck are you? No.
Trump does that shit. He's just dumb vague.
No, I think actually Trump, in terms of, like, he's got his go-tos. His go-tos are what? Build the wall. Tax cuts. Like, that. He's got his shit that he's like, and when, during the election, NAFTA sucks. Outsourcing sucks. I'll keep your jobs here.
Rapists.
That's actually very, like, simple and to the point and policy-oriented, even though he's a fucking dumbass. He can hit us with that. For him to say, like, no, we got to back off of policy. That's the trick that fucking corporate Democrats have been using forever, where they just hit you with, like, vague platitudes and cliches and try to, like, make you think they're on your side as they don't do dick for you. So, like, I'm done with the vague assholes. Like, I don't want to hear anybody say, like, what we need to come together as a country, and we need to believe in justice, and we need to be for equality and freedom. It's like, I don't give a you're using vague words on purpose, so we can't pin you down to specific promises to the American people.
Good point.
You see what
That's
I'm saying?
a good point.
Yeah, and that's what they do. And Buttigieg is like, all the articles recently, like, oh, he spoke Norwegian. Oh, he spoke fucking French. Like, the whole thing is, you're supposed to go, oh, he's smart. Game over. Let's vote for him and just let the smart guy do whatever the smart guy's going to do. And then that's like, it makes it so the people are a layer removed. Like, let the managers of society manage society and you go fucking take care of your own shit. But it's like, no, the managers of society have been fucking it up for decades.
Well, and it's almost like a person like Bernie Sanders who actually, says policy and, like, gets pretty in-depth in what he talks about because he gets questioned and pushed so much on it, exposes himself to more by doing all that, where someone who's more vague and broad doesn't open themselves up to a bunch of can of worms where it's just like, well, you said that, so can you talk a little bit more in-depth about that? That
used to be true because back in the day, the politicians won elections. Like, the more fake you were, the more likely you were to win an election.
Yeah.
Now we're in a new era, dog. Now we're in the era of everybody.
Where they'll press you on some shit?
Like, anybody who's speaking in vague platitudes, the majority of the electorate nowadays knows what I just described on some base level. Like, when somebody's just talking some vague bullshit, that they're just talking some vague bullshit. And like, I don't really trust him. I don't know why I don't trust him, but I don't really trust him. It's the same reason Martin O'Malley in the last election got like negative 1,000 votes because he was so fake and he was just speaking in platitudes.
And people see right through him.
Yeah, and so people today, like, look at Cory Booker. His campaign is fucking flailing. It's going nowhere. Why?
Because I haven't even heard anything about him.
Because his whole shit is just fucking, we need to believe in equality and justice. And
I just love, and I just hate that no one else sees this shit. Who, like, Bernie is a fucking trendsetter. Like, who else would have thought to go to Fox News and do a town hall? Like, no one else has done that shit.
But see, that's
and now, like, Donna Brazile and all these other people want to do it now. But who was the first person to do that shit? That's
my point. And this is why I was upset that Bernie didn't say anything about the Julian Assange thing. So Julian Assange is the head of WikiLeaks, which is basically it's an organization that, like, releases basically dirt on the powerful.
Yeah. I know WikiLeaks.
He's been hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy in London because basically Western governments have been, like, targeting him to try to take him down because he's leaked so much embarrassing shit about powerful people and about, like, crimes the U.S. military committed. So he's, like, public enemy number one to Western governments.
Is he like? How is he getting the information? Is he like hacking into computers and shit?
It depends on what time, like which story. Because in the one that they really came after him for is the Chelsea Manning leaks, where Chelsea Manning gave him the information about how the U.S. military was killing civilians in Iraq and then circling back and killing the first responders and like laughing about it.
Jesus.
Yeah, so he's hated, but so he was arrested, and Bernie didn't say shit about it when he was supposed to come out and say like, this is a threat to the First Amendment. What are you doing? Like, this is a threat to a free press. This dude was exposing the powerful, which is why he's got a target on his back from the powerful. And he didn't do it. And what that told me is he's playing politics. So my whole thing, like if I was running Bernie's campaign, I would have a similar strategy to what Corey Lewandowski did with Donald Trump. Donald Trump, you had all these Republican establishment figures who latched onto the campaign and tried to micromanage it. And they wanted him to like, oh, you got to do this, you can't do this. And Corey Lewandowski took that position, and his philosophy was let Trump be Trump. And the idea was, in politics today, people are following a playbook, a rule book, but there's no reason to think that their rules are right. There's no reason to think those rules make sense. Like, what if you just had a dude who was just saying whatever the fuck he wanted to say? Like, what would happen? Let's test it. And so Trump did that, and it worked. So for Bernie, the point you made about Fox News, he broke the mold. Because he was getting fucking shit on Twitter nonstop. Like, what are you doing? Why are you going on Fox News? You're propping up a white nationalist network, like all this shit. And, no, like, fuck you. He's not going in there to agree with white nationalism. He's going in there to fucking push back and reach a new audience and try to change people's minds and try to get votes and try to put them in their place when they need to be put in their place when they say some stupid shit. And that's what happened. So, like, my whole philosophy is you got to let Bernie be Bernie. And this was, like, him being able to do what he wants to do and thriving in the process.
But that Julian Assange thing, there's got to be two sides to it. So maybe Bernie genuinely, like, is torn on it or some shit.
I'll tell you. Well, I know exactly what the reasoning was. You know what else Julian Assange leaked? The fucking DNC emails, which showed how they fucking tried to rig it against him.
Yeah, so that would help. Bernie should help Bernie.
Well, think about it. The theory in mainstream media and the theory among centrist Democrats is that helped that led to Donald Trump winning the election. So it's it's Julian Assange and WikiLeaks that put Donald Trump in the White House, according to centrist Democrats. So if Bernie Sanders comes out and says, "Yeah, I'm with Julian Assange," then they're going to say, "Oh, so I guess you're fine with Trump being elected, and you're fine with they say it's an attack on democracy that he released that information." So centrist Democrats, definitely establishment Democrats, hate Julian Assange with a burning passion. So what Bernie did was a political calculation, where him and his team behind the scenes, they concluded, hey, we can come out and support Julian Assange, but then we're going to piss off some centrist voters who we might be able to get to our side. So let's not do it. Let's say nothing. So it was a political calculation, and I think it was fucking stupid. Because I think in his heart of hearts, Bernie knows this is a threat to the First Amendment, and this is a threat to a free press. And if he was being honest, he would say, yeah, I think this is fucked up. That's not right.
I'm surprised they didn't have any planted questions on that shit. Fox
they did.
News.
The very first one was planted.
Planted questions, but any of the Julian Assange, whatever his name is.
Julian Assange questions? I'm surprised he hasn't been asked about it yet either. I'm very surprised by that. I'm very surprised. It's definitely
huge news, right? I mean, like, it's
gigantic.
Big enough for someone to ask him.
No, and credit to Tulsi Gabbard, because Tulsi Gabbard did address it, and she said right thing. Yeah.
Huh. I just feel like, I haven't been watching much politics and, like, news, but I haven't heard anything about any other candidates besides Bernie and Buttigieg.
There's a fly in here, and it's fucking annoying me.
That was like that episode of Breaking Bad. Remember that one with the fly that got into...
Yeah. I do.
That episode sort of sucked, but that there was a fly that was just like that one fly.
I don't remember the details of it, but I do remember.
I think it literally was a whole episode of a fly flying around the fucking cooked factory.
I think it was supposed to be symbolic about something.
Oh, really?
By the way, no, I don't even want to show it, but I'll let you guess what it is in a second. You're gonna be able to...
like a seltzer or some shit.
No.
If there's a bad glare, Pringle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you gotta do 2 and do the thing.
Oh, it's a good idea.
But I don't know that town hall. At first, I was a little nervous because the Fox News guy hit Bernie with like a, "Are you gonna keep coming at me?" type of shit, and Bernie like realized like, I'm sorry, I was coming at you a little hard." Did you realize? Did you see that?
Yeah, he was trying to be. He was like, "Okay, I'll stop going after Fox or whatever."
Yeah, because Bernie kept going after the other guy when they weren't really getting at him yet. Yeah, there it is. No, is that right? It's supposed to be. It's supposed to make like a there. No, that's not right because then they're just sitting on top of each other. That one. There it is. Whoop, there it is. That's it. That's it. I don't know why that's their. Is that their cover photo or what? Or do people just do that because it looks like a duck or something?
I think it's a duck type thing. You know?
Yeah. But no, I thought the first 25 minutes. I still got to watch the rest. Were awesome.
Oh,
and Bernie.
As the more it went on, the better it got too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got more and more in his like element and just started running shit.
So yeah, the one highlight of them clapping for health insurance and switching over to it was just gold.
It was the best. They were like, how many of you? They thought they were going to get Bernie by asking people like, how many of you were willing to give up your private health insurance and move to Medicare for all? And they were just like, fuck yeah.
But it seemed like they weren't, and I don't know if this was Bernie just being that good, but were they that hard on him? It seemed like they sort of were fair, right?
No. First of all, I'm going to watch it over and do some breakdowns for the next show, okay? Uh-huh. But my interpretation of it was, yeah, they tried to hit him with the gotcha questions. But,
oh, really?
But here's the thing. These people are fundamentally unprepared to deal with somebody who knows what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. It's like when I did that debate with that guy Razor Fist.
I didn't see that.
It was just a total slaughter fest.
Yeah, I mean, you're debating a guy named Razor Fist.
Exactly. I mean, that's like on that alone, got him. Yeah. Like, I got you, dog. It's over. But like, even conservatives were like, you kind of fucked him up, like ridiculous, because he's not prepared. It's not like you're not. It's like taking like a college golfer and putting him up against Tiger Woods. By the way, we'll get to Tiger in a little bit.
Oh yeah,
but. It's like taking a college golfer and putting him up against Tiger Woods. It's like, dog, you're in a different league.
But other people would have cracked in that situation. Like a Cory Booker would have started sweating.
And I tweeted that shit because it's true. If I was Cory Booker's campaign manager, which I would never be, I would be like, no, because now all of them are going to want to go on Fox News because they see the reaction to Bernie shit.
Yep.
And I would be like, you cannot do it because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about and you don't really believe in the shit you're saying. Whereas Bernie knows his shit about the policies he supports. And he's passionate about it. Yeah. So think about it. They took Brett Baer. That was one of the hosts who was questioning Bernie.
Douchebag number one.
No, it's not even that he's a douchebag. Dog, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, to him, this is just a job. And you could tell he doesn't even give a fuck. Like, he's not. Like,
that's why Bernie was like, you probably make more than me. And he had a little face like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a dude, like, I remember one time I was watching one of the golf events, like the Pebble Beach shit, like the Celebrity Pro-Am one where the pros play with celebrities, and like Justin Timberlake will play in it, and like football players and shit. Sometimes Steph Curry plays in these shits. And Brett Baer was at it, and like he was so happy. It was like a kid on Christmas morning. He was just so happy to be there. And then I see him when he's on Fox News, and he looks fucking miserable. Uh-huh. And so they took this guy. This guy doesn't give a fuck about any of this shit, and they put him next to Bernie. He goes with the standard gotcha questions like, Bernie, it looks like you made a lot of money. Yeah. How can you be for raising taxes on the rich? And Bernie's just like, the fuck? Like, I'm going to crush you, dog. Yep. Then there's Martha McCallum, who...
She just didn't seem educated.
Well, she knows the talking points, but once they're rebutted, then she collapses because she's out of her depth.
And so, she'll just keep repeating it or something.
Exactly, yeah. Like, she'll give the talking point. Bernie will crush it 17 ways to Sunday. And then she just kind of, like, repeats the same shit. And then everybody in the audience is on Bernie's side. And like,
but her talking point is she's just like, well, are you going to give back your money?
Exactly. And, like, Bernie was treating them like he's a parent and, like, they are first graders acting up. And, like, Bernie's the dad driving the minivan, and they're in the backseat throwing goldfish at each other and screaming. And he has to turn around and be like, listen, and just tell him what the deal is. Like, that's what that was. But it was glorious because that's what came across to everybody watching. Listen, I said this. Some people were making fun of me for saying it, but I said it because it's true. You can take away from it whatever you want to take away from it. I know it's anecdotal, but I think it's still an important data point. My brother-in-law texted me and showed me a screenshot. It's a screenshot of a conversation he was having with his friend. And his friend is a hardcore Republican. And I read it with my own two eyes, dog. The dude said he's considering switching party affiliation, becoming a Democrat, to vote for Bernie. And his reasoning was very simple. He was just like, I think he's in favor of things that would help the most people. And he said, listen, I still have some disagreements with him. I don't agree with Bernie on the issue of abortion. But ultimately, can he look past that if it comes down to Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump? It looks like it. And this is what we've been saying, is that between my brother-in-law talking to this dude all the time and engaging, like with him, and then finally this dude seeing Bernie go into their house, dog. He went into the fucking lion's den, and he tore him apart. Between those two things, it was like, I guess, like a light bulb moment. And actually, usually for people changing their mind politically, it's never really a light bulb moment. It's usually a very slow, long transition. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't really... It's not like you want chocolate or vanilla. Okay, I want chocolate today. I want vanilla tomorrow. It's never really like that when it comes to ideology. It takes a long time for people to kind of deconvert and get certain things out of their head and new philosophies into their head. So this all goes back to the talk I had with Humanist Report and Progressive Voice. Like, this is why you engage with people, and this is why you don't shame. Now, by the way, like, sometimes people misinterpret that as like, you know, like, oh, what do you want to? You're just going to go and tell them what they want to hear? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying you have to engage people and you have to talk to them and you could always tell the truth and always like give your perspective on it and be clear about it. And you can agree on tiny points where you might agree. But yeah, if you actually engage with them and you're face to face with them and you don't have to shame people. You don't have to say like, they're so bad and they're so evil and they're so, like, I'm so done with them that I never...
Just listen to them.
Exactly. So Bernie goes into Fox News, which is admittedly the lion's den, and look at all the good that came about as a result of it. You know?
No, I agree. I mean, Sarah Silverman did that with a TV show she had. She, like, went into, like, these weird Alabama or, like, these weird, like, hick towns and, like, basically came out of it just saying, like, I just listened to people, you know, and the fact that I was listening to them is like they sort of respected me for that. And then, like, you know, like they were more open-minded to listening to what I had to hear, what I had to say, because they had just listened to me for a while, you know, like, so just listening to people and Bernie going on to Fox News and like, you know, letting them know that he hears them too, you know, is like opens their ears to now listening to Bernie because they see him, you know?
Yes, and again, you don't have to... It's not like you go into the lion's den and then your whole point is like you're going to tell them what they want to hear. No. Like, again, if there are small points of agreement, that's fine, and let them know. But Bernie argued for his shit the whole time. Yeah,
and other candidates might go in there and just tell them what they think they want to hear. You know, like just hit their talking points.
Or they try to ineffectually disagree. Like, that's the thing. As long as you're engaging with people, you could just tell them the truth. And even if you really disagree, you could tell them you really disagree, and you could tell them why. But somebody like Cory Booker might go in there, and he'll, like, try to disagree when they come after him, but the way he does it almost makes Fox look better than it makes Cory look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he just doesn't... He's not equipped with, like...
Some of the best, like, conversations I had, or not I've had, but I've seen, or like disagreements, are the ones that start out with just like, listen, you're a dick, here, and then here are your points. You know, like they just flat out say why they don't like the person, and then they'll tell them why, and then the other person typically responds with like okay, maybe I am a little bit of a fucking dick.
It's funny because what you just described right there is what, like when I debate, I'm never looking to debate people. Okay, like even when I did a literal debate, I wasn't looking to debate. Like my whole point is, you have to have a single focus, and that single focus is let's find the truth. Okay, so if I say something, and I can get the other person to agree on that point, well then that's wonderful. Because so in other words, I'm not looking to be adversarial for the sake of being adversarial.
I remember that happened with the Sally Weather win. Sally Weathers.
Scotty Nell Hughes.
But like, you spoke with her beforehand. She was a genuinely nice lady, and like, you know, people obviously like people want blood, and whether
Well,
it's like
she was
UFC
smart.
fight.
She
Yeah.
knew who the crowd was with, and so she knew she wasn't going to try to come at my throat, because if
Yeah.
she did, then I would have been put in a position where I had to fucking obliterate her.
Yeah. Well,
So-
the way she approached it, yeah, you could explain. It was almost like,
Yeah, but point is, were there a few points here and there where she stepped out of line and I had to put her back in line? Yeah, but that's what happens in a debate, and the reason why people love it when I debate is that in a situation like it was with that guy Razor Fist,
he probably was just disagreeing to disagree.
well, yeah, there were some points in the debate, and for those of you who haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. It's legendary at this point, where he just said some things that were just so monumentally insane that I have an urgent need. I always feel an urgent need to I have to correct the record. Like, I have to explain why that's wrong and, like, let everybody know it's wrong. And I don't want anybody going away from this conversation believing some, like, absolute garbage horse shit that was just given to them. So, since I feel this, I don't even know the right word. I feel this urge. I feel this need. I feel this force pulling at me to immediately correct something when it's so out of bounds. In the process of fixing it, that's when I come across really mad. And that's when I fucking lay down the law. But the point is that only happens when I'm dealing with somebody who says something so insane and, like, just so wrong and so obviously silly that, like, that's when I get animated. But if I'm having a conversation with somebody and they concede on certain points, or they disagree but it's a reasonable disagreement, then I'm never going to get angry, because then we could just kind of, flesh it out more and figure out, how much we disagree and how substantive those disagreements are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people want to see that, like, that they want to see you get triggered, and that is in a debate that happens on the road. Like, if someone cuts you off, they want you to pull up next to them and get all mad and angry, because like that's what they're looking for. But if you pull up next to them and give them a little smile, like a little like, I'm still just driving normally, then they're like, fuck, I just cut this dude off, and like, I was supposed to really piss him off, and he didn't get mad at all. Like, that's the same thing in a debate. Like, if you just disagree, but you still just go about your conversation and sort of just get your point across.
Well, no, in the example you gave, that is when I unleash the gates of hell. If somebody gets out of line egregiously, that's when I lose it. That's when I lose it. But if somebody's being reasonable in their disagreement, even if we disagree, then we could still talk normally.
Yeah, I guess.
But
yeah,
in the road example where somebody's cutting me off, that's when I'm like, no, fuck you. Now I'm going to cut you off twice, bitch. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a very tit for tat situation. Like, it's very much like, okay, listen, if you're willing to sit here and have a reasonable conversation with me, we're going to have a reasonable conversation. But if you step out of line and you're putting me in a position where I have to respond, I'm a counterpuncher, dude. I don't throw the first punch.
Yeah.
I'm willing to talk with people, even if I massively disagree with them, until they step out of line and say something crazy, and then I'll break your fucking jaw in the realm of ideas to steal from Rave Dubin.
So what was Sally Struthers doing in her shit? She was like, what's her driving analogy? You were both just driving, like, you were in your lane, and she was in her lane, and occasionally she'd try to, like, swerve into your shit, and you'd have to get her back into line?
The analogy for her is 95% of the drive. She was driving next to me, I was driving next to her, we're both going 40 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour shit, and nobody's fucking with anybody.
Yeah.
And then there were only 5% of the time, just a couple occasions, where she took her car and, like, kind of slowly drifted in my lane.
Yeah, okay.
Where I was looking to the left, and I was like, oh shit, her shit is getting kind of close to me. And then I look over, and I'm like,
get back in your shit.
You better relax a little bit here.
Yeah, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's all that was. And I feel like the audience I think they wanted more of her going in my lane OD and having me respond, because they like the blood sports.
But like you said, she knew what she was doing, because she knew who the fans came to see. Like,
she's not dumb. She's got a good intuitive sense of crowd surfing. Like, she knows.
She's an OG in the game.
She knows the deal. She's like, okay, this room is 100% on this dude's side.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna mostly agree with him. And it's like, okay, so let's do that. That's fine. As long as I'm getting my points out and everybody's digesting them, I don't give a fuck if you agree with me on every point, if you're not looking to fight on it. As long as I'm getting my point out and it's clear what's right, then we're good money.
I feel like I'd be a debater because I would have, like, my approach on the road is if you while out and do some stupid shit, I'm just going to pull up next to you and be like, you ain't do nothing wrong.
Yeah, then you're gonna there's the potential for somebody to basically say a bunch of insane shit, and you're not gonna immediately check them on it.
Yeah,
yeah.
And someone could watch that and be like, that guy looks more confident. He looks like he's
exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Debating is not. I mean, it's funny because I always said it's the WWE of intellectual pursuits. I don't really like them, but the other perspective on it is, it's a good way to educate people. Even though the delivery method is flawed, it's a good way to educate people because they just enjoy them more than listening to dry lectures or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm. And Bernie will be fine on debate too, right? Because he still just speaks to his points, right? Like
Bernie's a pretty solid debater. Bernie's a pretty solid debater. I do have some disagreements with him in terms of his style. I wish I could be the one to debate coach him, like before he does his thing. But he's mostly, I would give him, he's a solid B+ debater, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch all these people on stage.
The other key to debates is you have you have to just say what you're trying to say. You can't, no extra words, because people love hearing the sound of their own voice. Mm-hmm. And like, look at somebody like Buttigieg, like they just love talking, and even if they're not saying some shit, and it, like, if you can say something in 10 sentences, ideally, I bet you we could get that down to 2. Like, everything you're taking 10 sentences to say, we could get it down in 2.
Yeah.
And that's what you should be doing in a debate.
Although that shit never worked in high school, when I would try and chop down fucking sentences that I was cliff noting, I would just copy the whole paragraph from, like, Spark Notes. I would put it in my page, and I was like, let me just try and chop out some words here. And that shit would never make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
They'd be like,
I like how you're just admitting to plagiarism on this.
Oh, hell yeah. I used to copy the whole shit and then just put it in my thing. And then, like, I'd be like, I'd take out, like, Harry Potter, and then it'd just be like, wizard. And they'd be like, but who was the wizard? Like, oh, we needed those 2 words?
You would, like, get rid of random-ass words? Oh, my God.
Because, like, the big-ass words, I used to think, like, this teacher probably doesn't think I know this fucking word. And it'd be, like, some crazy big-ass word. But it would be the most important word to the sentence.
They had, like, some sort of fucking, program to check it back then.
Oh, I think that's right. Yeah, you could, like, take a sentence out of it and plug it into the site, and it would tell you the source of where it, like, came from. Fuck, yeah, that was a fucking...
Did you ever get caught doing that?
No, I never got caught, like, plagiarizing or cheating or anything like that. But I didn't do it too often. I just never read. I'd probably just bullshit my way through, like, an essay. I'd, like, read the Cliff Notes or Spark Notes. I wonder if that's still that's got to still be a site, right? Because I'm sure professors give out tasks for kids to read books, right?
I'm sure.
People still reading books?
Well, obviously, but I'm sure that they have, like, Cliff Notes and people read.
Yeah, but Cliff Notes and Spark Notes used to be the shit. Like, it would literally tell you everything you wanted to know. And I would just be like, but, like, to your point, it chopped out, like, an 800-page book into, like, 4 paragraphs.
Remember,
why didn't they just make the book 4 paragraphs?
Remember when you used to ask the teacher, like, could we read the Cliff Notes? And they would always say, with the book, not alone.
Oh, I don't remember that.
They would always say that. They'd be like, you could read the Cliff Notes, but you have to read it with the book. You can't read them on their own.
That would always be the worst. It'd be like, go home and read chapters 6 through 8 or some shit. And then you'd read it, and you'd have to come back the next day, and then the teacher would ask you what happened, and you never read it, and then you just have to make... I remember I had a book, Into the Wild, by, like, John Krakauer or something like that.
I read that, I
think. Teacher's name. But I think I read some of it, and then I was like, why am I reading this? I stopped reading it. Because he was, like, in the woods with his, like, hippie, like Airstream truck, and then I was just like... I think I was into it, too, but then I talked myself out of it, like... I don't care about this shit.
You were into it and then you stopped anyway. That's such a Corin thing to do.
Happened. I really think I was I was getting into it, and I was like, wow, I'm reading the book for class, and I'm keeping up to like date and shit like that. And then like the next day we'd come in and he'd ask a question, and I'll be like, yeah, he went camping with his shit in the woods, and then he started like hitchhiking. And then the next day I was just like, I gotta stop reading this shit.
I remember one time, one of my teachers, I think it was in 11th grade.
Oh, then it was probably Mr. Mont.
No. It was like 10th grade. Mr. McKay.
Oh, yeah, Mr. McKay. Yeah, I remember.
You remember him, bald dude?
I didn't have him, but I remember.
Okay, I had him. And one day he met before the class with the smartest kids, the most reliable kids. And he said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a chapter where, in the book that everybody was reading, where a wizard does some shit,
and none of it happened.
None of it happened. It was a test.
Yes.
It was a test.
Genius.
And so they started talking. I just didn't say shit.
You knew they were up to some shit?
No, I didn't know they were up to some shit because I wasn't reading the book.
Oh.
I didn't know they weren't up to some shit. I didn't read the book, but I'm also Kyle, and I keep it real. So they were all like some of the kids in the class were fucking fell for the shit immediately, and those poor sons of bitches were outed, son. Yo, not for nothing. I'm pretty sure I probably had like ADHD my whole life and just been fighting that shit.
Probably.
Because I had the same experience you had. Like, I did read a bunch of the stuff that was assigned, but there's a lot of the shit I just didn't read. And
yeah, because a lot of that shit was just fucking useless. Like, any book that someone's reading right now, just rip out chapters 4 through 7.
You're bugging.
You'll still get the whole gist of the book from the beginning of that shit and the end of it.
It's that I didn't. if I can't get into it pretty quickly, then I'm not like I would have to wrestle my attention span. It would take all of my effort to wrestle my attention span to read the words on the page, and even with actually reading the words on the page, I wouldn't absorb it because I'm not into it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And that's always how my attention span has been. Sometimes it's super hard, even to prep for the show. Sometimes it's really hard for me to get into the mindset where I'm rolling. Like once I'm rolling, okay, I can do it. But sometimes for that first hour and a half, I start reading words and my mind's just like,
it's
no,
tough. I mean, that's procrastination.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, that happens with everything. I think I'll be the first to admit it. I don't read that much. I think the last book I read was like Holes in like third grade or something like that. And then, so that I think I read like up to the end, and then I watched the movie, and that's how I got the ending. Which was shout out to Holes. That was a good ass movie.
Shout out to Holes. As if like the director's watching, like, thanks, Corin.
You might be. Shia LaBeouf was in that shit.
Yeah.
Holes was a good ass. It was a good book. But yeah, I don't know. I think I have to read the words on sentences like twice. I'll fall asleep. Like reading is tough.
No, for me, I can actually, if I like the thing I'm interested in, if I'm down, if I'm in the mood to read the thing, like if I'm actually interested in it, and if it's written well, I'm good. But
wouldn't you rather, like if you're reading some book on World War II that you're super interested in, wouldn't you just rather watch like some History Channel World War II shit?
Yes, I would.
That's why I don't understand, like when people are like, oh, I just want to cuddle up and read a good book. It's like, why don't you just want to cuddle up and watch a good ass movie?
A lot of it goes back to what they've done their whole lives. So if you've always been a reader, you're going to keep being a hardcore reader. Me, I'm somewhere in the middle. Because like I said, if those conditions are met, I could read all day. If I like the thing, okay, and if it's written well, I could read all day. Which is how I was able, from when I was very young, I was able to read Noam Chomsky books. I read fucking Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion when I was pretty young.
I remember you read all those shits.
Yeah, like I can read some shit if I like the shit and it's written well. But what I noticed is, if I don't like the shit, I can't read it at all. And even if it's not written well, but I like the topic, I can't read it. That happened to me with some books where I was excited to read them. Wait,
you like the topic, but you can't read it.
I like the topic, but it wasn't written well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, okay, so... But enjoying how somebody writes is very subjective, because I'm sure that there's some.
Well, it's like a director, like how they paint
exactly.
the picture.
Exactly. Like there's some people who, when they write, what the words on the page immediately are absorbed in my head, where I'm like, I get everything this person's saying and how they're saying it. But then there's other people, the way they write, where I will read a paragraph and have no idea what the fuck they just said.
Yeah.
And that shit drives me crazy.
Yeah.
One of my favorite writers is actually Glenn Greenwald. I think he's such a great writer. Because he's
on Twitter, right? He's got the big following on Twitter.
He's the journalist. He's co-founded The Intercept. He broke the fucking Edward Snowden NSA story and got a Pulitzer Prize for it. Damn. Yeah, but every time I read a Greenwald article, I immediately get all of it, and I'm like, oh, he's such a good writer. I'm happy to read it. I don't even realize how long I've been reading for.
Yeah,
and I just get it because for whatever reason it clicks. The way he writes clicks in my head. But then there's other people where I read it, I'm like, I can't even understand what the fuck they're saying.
Yeah, I think Bill Simmons was known for doing that in the sports world a little bit. And he was really, and I'll be the first to admit it, I'm not really a reader. And for anybody who tries to say that you're not as sophisticated or this and that, I could hear big words on a fucking TV screen. You're
not dumb. It's not that you're dumb. It's that you don't enjoy that as much. And by the way, there's no shame in that. Why do you think audiobooks are so big now?
Exactly.
Because people want to get the information that's in the book, but they don't necessarily want to sit there and actually read through the whole shit.
Yeah.
So I think Bill Simmons,
he did that with me for sports because he had a really good way, and he still does, a good way of making it fun. He'd connect it to WWF or something like that. He made reading enjoyable. And so in a small way, I would read his stuff because so I can connect to a good writer compared to a bad writer, because I've had some, not friends, but friends of friends write an article for politics or whatever, and I read it and it's just and granted they're not seasoned writers, but you could tell they're just milking it out and
worst, man. You know who does that a lot?
Who's that?
Old media, like New York Times.
I hate that.
New York Times is the worst with it. They'll
I've tried to read some New York Times articles, and to your point, it's just what the come on already.
They haven't adjusted to the new world.
Yeah.
The new world. This is for good or bad, it is what it is. We are the concise generation.
We are the world.
I don't know what it is. Maybe the internet, maybe social media, but it ruined our attention span.
Mm-hmm.
TV ruined our attention span.
Yeah.
So now we're just tell them, say it, get it out. We don't hit me with the long intro. The other thing is, and this might be just a quirky thing for me. The old rule of politics is you have to personalize it in order for it to click with people. So you have to talk about, and there's a man in southeast Iowa who works in the factory town by the name of Craig Johnson. And that's the old rule of politics, because then people go, oh, I can relate to Craig. That's crazy. In my mind, whenever I read some shit and it starts with that, I'm like, no, I want you to hit me with the actual, 28.6% of the factories in Iowa shut down in the past 5 years. Oh, shit. Then I'm interested. So I'm the opposite. If you personalize it, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Because it's too long and too wordy and too, focused on an individual. But if you show me the big picture, if you show me the statistics of the factories that shut down, I'm like, oh shit, this is interesting, number one, and number two, we should do something about this, and I'll probably want to talk about it and cover it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So that's opposite of the old rule. The old rule in politics was you have to talk about, I met a guy named Bob in fucking Michigan.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I think we're shifting in the other direction nowadays, where you have somebody like Bernie who brings up more just the numbers and brings up, Medicare for all, save us $5 trillion, and every other country has it.
Of the 1%, yeah.
He doesn't have to necessarily talk about, I met Sally in fucking Idaho, and she...
Yeah, that shit's so corny when fucking politicians pull that shit out. It's we're all talking to people. We're all meeting people. You don't need to tell me about, the fucking Sally who, walked outside of her house and it was raining and you fucked all that shit. You're not winning points over... I want to hear statistics and shit like that. I like comparisons. That's my big thing when it comes to reading, is just comparing some shit to some other shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that makes me visualize things a little bit better. Like, some of these sports reporters that I do like Colin Cowherd has always been great of like comparing a situation that's happening in the NFL to like just something stupid. It's like driving a car and then your engine muffles out. It's like, okay, so their offense is, like I like those comparisons.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw I never understood this, but in this area, there's always commercials for Sonic and commercials for Papa John's, and we don't have any Sonics or Papa John's.
There's no Papa John's out there?
No, you know this.
I know. I'm trying to think. I feel
maybe
like
in the city, maybe. Right? There's a few in the city.
maybe Sonic. Yeah, never was Sonic. But
You gotta
yeah,
go
I
to,
always
like,
wonder that. They must
Pennsylvania
pay
for that
like a national like TV coverage plan or some shit that they're just grandfathered into. That one day if a Sonic does open in New York, they're like, oh, we got that shit covered because we've having commercials on there since '88.
I wonder. I think it's because of zoning laws, right? That they only allow certain fucking fast food places in our area.
That's why you think there's no Sonic
Yeah,
there?
I feel like I read that a long time ago, but I could have just totally made that up.
It might be true. I feel like that's why it took Chick-fil-A so long to get to New York City.
And why? Well, In-N-Out just wants to be on the West Coast, right? They don't even want to be in this area.
I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. Like maybe there's some like fast food, like the fast food law or something.
Well, isn't like Five Guys is not on the West Coast, right?
I feel like I know it's not, but I feel like there is Five Guys on the West Coast, but I could be wrong.
I don't know, but for you and me, man, it's a tradition. Whenever we get to LA,
I know.
the first shit we do is we get In-N-Out.
I usually get it before you because
Literally.
my flight usually gets in before you, and I'll go to that one right by the airport.
I don't know if we spoke about this on the podcast before, but I want to tell everybody. Me and you have now, like, we have, like, a schedule shit that's, like, just down. You always arrive in LA roughly, like, what would you say, like an hour before me?
Yeah, like an hour and a half, 2 hours before you.
This is just how it's worked out with the flights. Like, he's gotten the flights that are just slightly before me, and then, no, I actually take off first.
Yeah,
but since you're closer to LA...
So that's what it is. Yeah, we usually leave around the same time or so, but my flight is 2 hours shorter than yours, I think.
Something like that, yeah. So when I arrive there, I go, like, directly to the, the bag shit where you get your bag. And, like, every time I, like, get my bags, and pretty much, like, right when I'm done getting my bags, you're, like, walking in with a smile on your face. And you're just like, yo, I just housed, like, fucking In-N-Out, man. It was so good.
The last time I was drenched in sweat because I walked around the whole damn airport.
You thought, so Corin thought like, oh, I'll walk back around the other way.
I thought it was a shorter cut.
He thought it was a shortcut, but it was actually way longer because he had to walk through the entire airport, and my terminal was like the last shit. Yeah. So we had
that shit sucked.
He came back, he was sweating, and then we always have the experience of, this is funny. So we go to rent the car. And, like, the last time, especially, the first time we went on the wrong line. Like, we hopped on some shit, and they were like, this is, like, the VIP shit.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What does that even mean? They're like, you got to go over there. That was the first time. Then the second time we got there, we went to go rent the car, and the line was out the fucking room,
Diesel.
son. Unbelievable. It was so crazy.
That's just a buzzkill.
And then Molly told you, like... Oh, when I go get some shit,
you could just get it.
I do the auto shit where I show up and it's just ready.
Her name's on a board and literally like the keys in the car or some shit.
And I was like, dog, that shit is real? I didn't fucking know this. We're over here renting cars like the year's 1997.
Yep.
And like we gotta wait on a line and everything.
There's so much new shit. Like there's this shit that people do at my job that if they're going to pick up some food, So say I'm trying to compare it to some shit. Like say I'm your neighbor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to Five Guys to pick up your burger. I could order Five Guys, and since you're there, like you'll see that I ordered that shit, and you could just pick up the food for me.
That sounds like Uber Eats, no? Or is Uber Eats a little different? Because Uber Eats is their drivers who drive for Uber Eats.
No, it's not a driver. So it's like, since there's like sort of like a big lunchroom shit in the building I work at.
Oh, so this works just in your building, you're saying?
No, it's like everywhere. Like if you like and you order from the same place, like it's like it's like Kyle's ready. Kyle's available for pickup. So like I could just pick up your food for you.
Yeah, but
because
like,
you're on this app. Like it's just wild. Like you get you.
I get what you're saying, but like, do they get blessed with like a little tip or something?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So like my tip is now dependent on you because you're picking my shit up. Like they're offering for you to pick my shit up. So now the tip falls on your shoulders.
What if like 4 people are like,
you could pick up all 4 of their food?
Yeah, but what if you're like,
because you're there
already? Fuck is
so
this?
Like,
I can't carry 4 of these things. What the fuck is this?
That's what I'm saying. So the app shows me like, oh, Kyle's at Subway right now. I'm gonna put an order in, and then it's just like you could just pick up my food.
So
OD.
These people walk in and like their phone will go off like immediately.
Yeah,
and there'll be like 3 of their boys like, yo, order me like a chicken parm.
Or they'll just place this shit because they know you're there. And then the app will be like, you could pick up Corin's food for him.
That's sort of weary. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Like they're telling you as if like they're doing you a favor, but you got to do the work.
Yes.
Like, oh, by the way, while you're there, you can pick up Corin's food, and you're like, oh, yay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like one dude came back to the office and was like, oh, like, Chris, I saw you were available for pickup. But like he didn't pick his shit up, and I was like, that's what's up. Like, why the fuck would I pick his food up? Like, you ordered your shit, you go pick it up. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I'm laughing, son. That shit is hilarious.
It's almost like I'm upstairs in my room. Molly did all the hard work to get down to the kitchen, sit there eating shit, and like her mom made the food, and then I just like text her, and I'm just like, yeah, bring my shit upstairs. You know?
That shit is hilarious, son.
Yeah. That's a thing though. Like that's a popular.
That's
thing.
crazy.
I don't know if it's Uber Eats, but
I saw you in the video. I saw you use the electronic scooter.
Oh, the birds. Yeah,
those things look cool as fuck.
Those are super fun. Yeah, a lot of cities have those shits now.
I know. When we were in LA, that was the first time I saw them. I saw them all over the place in LA.
They have them in LA? Yeah,
when we were there the last time, you pointed them out to me. You were like, "You see that? That's a new company that's doing like you could just go use that." I was like, "What?"
I was in Dallas, I think it was, and I had like time to kill or something like that. I literally rented one of those things, and they're mad cheap. And I just like sped around the whole like downtown. It was crazy.
They look a lot of fun, and that
mad fun. And they go fast.
And I was gonna say that takes me back to our childhood when I used the Razor scooters. Remember those?
I was not in on that. Yeah.
You fucked up, dog.
I know. I never was in on that.
Yo, we had this game in my basement. I don't know if you remember this, but I used to play it. Bobby used to play it. My buddy Brian used to play it. The game is, so I didn't have a Razor scooter. I had the budget, like, cheap shit. It's called, like, Micro or something.
I think I remember that.
I got the cheaper one. Like, we got
that shit might have had, like, the orange handles on it or something.
I don't remember. I really don't remember. But, like, okay, so the game was,
Razors were hot.
There was a pool table in my basement. Okay?
I remember, yeah, of course.
So you had to run on the scooter from one end of the basement. It was a pretty decent-sized basement. Mm-hmm. And you had to push off, get on the scooter, and you had to go around the basement in a circle as many times as possible without falling off.
Damn.
And without using putting your foot back on the ground. So it started out where...
so you got one good push?
One good push. That's it, exactly. One good push. And then you had to go as far as...
You couldn't make it around in one time in one good push, could you?
Yes, you can. Because
really?
you would make it around a bunch of times. Because when we started out, don't get it twisted, when we started out, we were whack. Mm-hmm. And like we'd maybe get around like one time or one and like a half maybe. Mm-hmm. But then we figured out the more you do it, the more you learn the strategies. Mm-hmm. And so we figured out how to like, we got so good at the balance on the scooter that when the thing came to a stop, you can hop and get a little bit more of a roll. And so after you go around, like you eke out everything and you go around the basement like twice, then you got to start like hopping and not falling.
Oh.
And we got it to the point where we went around like 4 or 5 times or something.
Really?
It was crazy.
Of one push?
Off of one push, dog. It was crazy.
That's why I'm always fascinated how people learn how to use these shits. Like, what was another one that was so the Razor scooter was big. Yo-yos. Like anyone who could yo-yo.
I was nice for a hot minute, dude.
But the people who could yo-yo and do that shit where they turned it into a triangle and they would
could do that shit. Cats in the cradle. I swear to God I did that shit.
And you need to do a video of that shit. And
I don't know how to do it anymore, but I knew how to do
like
it.
Riding a bike?
What's that?
You don't think it's not like riding a bike? You don't think if you did that shit, it would come back?
I think if I looked at a tutorial video and tried it and then practiced it for a day, I could probably do it, but I'm not going to do that.
That shit used to be like, I couldn't even do the shit and bring it back up. Like,
yeah,
if I did
it. Well, if you couldn't do that, let me say this. If you couldn't do that, you had a shitty yo-yo. But if you had a hot shit, if you had the fireball, or if you had the brain.
I think Duncan was one, right?
That may have been, but I remember just the fireball and the brain. Let's look this up. And both of those were nice.
Look if Duncan was a yo-yo, because I feel like that might have been like the Air Jordans of yo-yos.
Fireball yo-yo is one of them. I had that shit. Brain yo-yo. We love these shits. Brain yo-yo is one of them. And you said Duncan?
Yeah.
Duncan yo-yo. Like, yeah, that shit. You got one of them too, dog. I never had a Duncan, but I had a fireball and a brain.
Oh. Yeah, yo-yos were like...
Did I have the budget shits for this too? I probably had the budget shits for everything.
Yeah, Duncan I think was the shit. I think Duncan was like... But how did you turn one rope into like a triangle?
I was taught, dude. I was taught.
Well, like, what did that...
There's a way that's not that difficult. Like, there's a way... If I was able to do it, it's not that difficult. Because I was not great.
Like, people who could do card tricks?
I knew one, and then I forgot how to do it. Where, like, I would ask you to whittle down. Like, I'd say, pick a card. Yeah,
but you would always... Like, so you would say... You would put 4 piles or some shit, and you would say, pick one. And then whatever they chose, you would, like, pick the opposite. Like, so even if they chose the one...
so you deduce down. So I would say something to you like, all right, pick clubs or spades. And if you say spades and the thing's a club, then I would get rid of the spades.
Yeah. You're taking me... I remember you doing this trick on me.
And then everybody falls for it, and they're like, how the fuck did you get that? And it's like, I whittled you down to the shit I wanted to whittle you down to by saying, like, whatever you said, I would pick the shit that's the right shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there's always a way, like, so if there's 2 piles, and you're like, which pile did you want? They're like, that one. You could either take that away, or you could, take the other one away. So, like, you always do what you want, but you're still...
But you you give them the illusion of choice. As if they think they're making the choice, but really, no matter what they say, I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I fucking love Magic, man. Oh,
yeah,
my sister did this one shit. It was like 4 firefighters or some shit where, like, somehow she would put these cards randomly in the deck and then do some shit, and they'd all be at the top, like, of the deck. Like, they were, like, firefighters at the top of the fire. And I would just be like, how, like, you, and I would get so mad because I'll be like, tell me how you did that shit. I was like 6. And she'd be like, no.
Yeah, there's some, if it's a good trick, it's like, you'll be amazed. Like, especially when you,
like, that people can remember how to do a trick. I'm impressed when people remember, like,
you have to care
a joke to tell. Yeah.
You have to care enough to learn it and then stick to it, you know? That's the thing.
But, like, remembering that shit, even the fidget spinners, if you know how to do those shits and, like, have them sit on your finger and stuff.
You remember Magic the Gathering cards? Were you ever into Magic the Gathering cards or no?
Jed was. So
it's funny you say that because
step over me.
My cousins are Jed's age, and they were into that too.
Yeah, it was a generation a little before us, before our time.
But I remember whenever I would go over my cousin's house, I would always see their cards, and I'd have, like, you know, that little kid feeling when you see a toy you want, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I had that every time I looked at the Magic the Gathering cards. I was like, "Oh, that's so cool."
Yeah, I had the same feeling too.
But I always the artwork on them was so hot.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, the artwork.
But I was always just like, I would never know how to play that game. That game's too smart.
Oh, I still don't know how to play that game. I have no idea.
I don't even think the people who play that shit know how to play.
They don't know how to play it.
I'm still amazed at myself that I knew how to play Pokemon. Like, I knew how to put down. Like, you needed the energy cards. So, like,
I never played Pokemon. I collected the cards. I still have the cards.
Oh, you never actually, like, played a battle?
Never actually played it. I just collected the cards, which, by the way, that shit was also... There were times, my poor mother, I fucking tortured the shit out of her. I'd be like, you got to take me. There was this card place in Nershell called Squiggies. Remember Squiggies?
Yeah.
We'd go to Squiggies, and this motherfucker would just straight rip people off. He'd have, like, rare Pokemon cards, like, cost $50 for one fucking card. And I begged my mom, like, Mom, you gotta buy me that, ma'am.
Those stores, there's a spot on Central Avenue, right next to actually the Chevy dealership, called Dragon's Den.
Oh, I remember
And
Dragon's Den. Yeah. I thought that was in
that
Cross County.
they might have had multiple, but there
Okay.
was one where that where that deli is, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like 2 stores to the left of it, or to the left of it was Dragon's Den, and like I'm sure those guys, if they're not dead now or like doing some weird shit with kids or in prison or something like that, they definitely have stories of like, man, I once sold one card for $200. Like those were like we had Texas Hold'em and that was our heyday. There was a fucking heyday for trading cards, for Magic the Gathering cards, Pokemon cards, where like you would go into that store and like you said, you tell your mom like you drop $70 on one card.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It was
The
crazy.
dudes behind the counter should go to jail just for fucking robbery because like all these kids went in there with their allowances and promises they made to their parents to take out garbage and do all this shit for one card.
Mewtwo, man. Mewtwo was the one I was fucking hard for.
Charizard was the shit, man.
I have my shit not even that far away. Next show we're gonna break out Pokemon cards. I still
have my shits.
I have mine too. It's not even that. It's sitting fucking 10 feet from me.
Yeah, I have mine in like a Pokemon booklet. I got
me
like
too. It's a little like
Japanese
collector's book thing, man.
Yeah,
This is we're getting hard into how nerdy we are right now.
No, that wasn't
nerdy.
even nerdy. That was like even the fucking like hood ass kids were like, "Yeah, you got that Charizard?"
Everybody loved it. Everybody loved it.
They would try and hit you with some whack trade like a Machamp for a Charizard or some shit.
I'm kind of pissed we missed the Magic the Gathering shit though, because I always loved the look of those too.
Yeah, but that shit was like reading a book. It was too confusing.
No, I'm not saying we should have played it. I'm saying we could have collected the cards.
Yeah, I wonder if for Magic the Gathering if there was a Charizard for them. You know, if there was like the blue wizard.
I'm sure. I'm fucking sure of it. Like, do you think my OG ass original mint condition Pokemon cards are worth anything right now?
Probably like $17.56 on eBay.
That's what I would guess too. You know what I looked for the other day? Because I was thinking, it just randomly popped in my head. I was like, you know what I love? I love the vintage $100 bills. You remember the vintage $100 bills?
Yeah, like
the 1990s shit?
Yeah.
Those shits were fucking clean, son.
Yeah, I'll take any $100 bill.
No, but like the new ones, I look at a new 100 and I'm like, like your design is sort of whack.
Yeah,
but
the old shit is sort of like a piece of art. It's like
that's what I'm saying. So I was like, I looked up pictures of it on Google Images. I was like, oh, that's what's up. And then I looked on eBay. I think they were going. I think they're selling for like $125 for one $100 bill. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Oh, that used to be actually. I don't know if I liked. I feel like I like getting the newer one. Like when we used to go to the poker club and they would pay us out in like hundreds.
Oh, you like the newer ones?
Yeah, I think so. Because I'll get the other shit and I'll be like, damn.
Well, now you see pretty much no of the old $100 bills.
You see none of them, you're saying?
Yeah, like in circulation now.
Oh, yeah.
Because once they get to the bank when they're trying to take them out of circulation, they don't put them back in circulation. They put the new ones in play.
Yeah, and that's the same with $50 bills too. Like, and then they gotta question you at the stores. Shit, I'm like
$125, $125.50.
But are there bids and shit on it?
No, this isn't the bidding ones. This is just buy now. Like you can buy it now for $125.50.
Are they allowed to sell money for more than what money is?
Well, yeah, because this actually is at a certain point. Like right now, it's like a collector's item, and it's kind of like the beginning phase of this $100 bill being a collector's item. But there will come a time when this shit is worth way more. Like there was one I came across when I clicked on this shit. There was an old like $1,000 bill or $500 bill, and that goes for way more now because they were only in circulation for a very small amount of time.
Yeah, currency is huge. I mean, my stepfather used to collect when he was a kid coins. Like, and there's like coins, like coin shows are huge.
Yeah, there's old grandpas love that shit.
Yeah,
but
they do like currencies.
The old 100, the old 100 is fucking next level fucking shit.
Yeah, it's a nice.
Even the old 50, I love. Like the look of the old 50 is fucking.
I would still spend both of those shits in a second. I used to always be scared to spend a $2 bill.
No, I never. Whenever I had a $100 bill or a $50 bill, I never wanted to spend it. I was like, I
really?
like the look of this more than I would want to buy some shit with it.
That's how I felt with a $2 bill. I was like, I'm never gonna see one of these ever again.
You know, it's funny because technically all of these, you could still use all of these.
Yeah.
You could still use a $2 bill, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Whenever I got one, I don't felt like I spent it.
Do
but
you
I don't
still
know where
have
the
one?
fuck
I still
those
have.
shits are
I
now.
have a $2 bill still.
I think I have somewhere or something.
Yeah, I don't have an old 100 though anymore. Which
Yeah, I don't
makes me
have that
sad.
shit.
I want a fucking crisp, perfect old 100 and old 50. That's what I want. A fucking crisp one.
And then just get them framed or some shit.
Yeah, put it behind me with the map. Everybody was clowning. Progressive Voice was clowning. Everybody was clowning. They're like, "What do you think? You're Paul Joseph Watson?"
He's turning into a troll now, man.
No, I know. Every time I say something about golf, he's like, "The sport nobody watches."
Yeah, he's turning
Like, yo,
into a
bro,
troll.
pause. Hold on 1 second, dude. You're into fucking Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I don't know why people were into that was one that I never got into.
Yeah,
I
like,
don't know.
no. But here's the thing. I'm not hating on him. Like, dude, do you, dog? You like fucking Dragon Ball Z? You like questioning David Pacman and asking him if he knows what Super Saiyan is? Do you, son? I don't care. That shit is... If that's what you enjoy, God bless, dude. Go for it.
I don't know.
But then when you turn around and try to get at somebody for liking golf, like, what? You tweet about the Big Bang Theory every day, and you like fucking Dragon Ball Z, and you're going to come at me for liking golf?
Yeah, I don't know why people like Dragon Ball Z. I never gave that shit a chance.
Well, that's the thing. You never gave it a chance, and we kind of well, no, we didn't miss the window for that. But
I think it was past us. Yeah.
You know who liked Dragon Ball Z? Bobby loved Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, I think it was I think it's weird because our generation is really strange. I was talking to a kid about this. Like, I'm 30, he's 25, and he was trying to say there's no difference in that shit, and I was like,
there's a difference.
Nah, man. I was like, you don't know about Jenkos. You don't know about
doesn't know about Jenkos.
Airwalks used to be the shit before they went into Payless. I was like, you don't know about Pogs, and he was like, yeah, I don't know about those shits. And I was like,
it's different.
Exactly. There's a big jump, dog.
But then Jed and Jenna and Davina would tell me and
we
you
still overlapped into their shit a little bit. Because, like, with Magic, we're aware of it, you know? We didn't have other distractions, so we sort of had to pay more attention to their shit.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I slightly disagree with you because even though we're aware of their shit, there's certain things that it's just like where you and I, if those things are brought up to us, our first reaction would be, that's a generation before me. So I'll give you an example. If somebody says Madonna, I'll be like, generation before me. Like,
I think music's different, though. It's
okay, all right, so put that aside.
Yeah.
If somebody says Beverly Hills 90210, I go, that generation before me. You say Beverly Hills 90210 to Jed, you say Beverly Hills 90210 to Davina or to my sister, they'll be like, yeah, Beverly Hills 90210. Like,
but it's still on our radar. Like, we still know of it. Like, he was like, Pogs? Nah. Like, it's almost like that Magic the Gathering. It was like, it was on the cusp, it was on the end of our radar. Like, if there was one of those blip shits.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Outer cusp.
But what's the birthday then where the person shit is not on our radar?
So 30. So I think a 26, 27-year-old isn't fucking with the shit that we were fucking with, but we're not fucking with the shit they were fucking with, like a Dragon Ball Z.
No. I'm saying on the older end.
Oh, where are we out of there?
Where's the cutoff? Because you're saying,
I think it goes
you're
pretty
30,
deep.
I'm 31. Okay,
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking of my cousin Josh, who's like 30. I think he's 30. He might be like 37, 38.
There's no way we're fucking with his shit.
I think we are, because he was fucking with Pogs and shit.
I'm saying if it's not 37, then I'm cutting it off at 38 max, dog.
It might even because I never really spoke to him about his shit, but he was definitely playing with some shit that I didn't know about. You know, like,
what's crazy is that the older you get, the smaller those differences are. Like when we were 14, right? Our brothers and sisters, we looked at them like they're in a different world. You know what I'm saying? With their interests.
Yeah.
But now that we're all in our 30s, it's like not really all that different anymore.
Yeah, but that's because I know what Jed was like playing with and stuff like that. My cousin Josh was a little older than Jed, like, so Jed might know what Josh was doing a little bit more, like.
Yeah, but there is a line,
like Josh
dude.
might say some
like,
shit.
Even if you tell me, Kyle, the generation where we would be cut off is legit, like where we wouldn't understand their world is Generation X shit, and it's like, the person's 40 years old right now, so literally like 10 years, 9 years older than us right now. There is a line somewhere. Like you're not.
Yeah, there is. I think it's like. So my brother's 34, I think, or 33 or 34. It could be like that 35, 36. Because I'm
so
sure
that was kind of my original point. My original point is that's the zone where I start getting fuzzy, where like if somebody hits me with like some best boy band of all time, New Kids on the Block, I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like you're not even close to correct. Like we're going to have a conversation and we're going to either talk NSYNC or Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Or it's a rap. If you say New Kids on the Block, we got problems here. And I don't know, what would Jed say? What would Jed say?
That's an interesting question for a boy band.
Text him right now. Text him right now. Be like, yo, best boy band of all time, go. And see what he says.
Well, I can't say best band of all time because he would probably say Backstreet Boys are NSYNC. I'll say, what was the boy band of your generation?
Okay.
Of your kids?
Okay. Jed, you're being tested right now, man. We're waiting for it. We're waiting to see what the answer is. But yeah, like my sister's shit, she was always like a slight tick of a generation removed from us. And there was some shit where there was some overlap where like we caught the wave of like fucking TRL and Britney Spears.
So he put NSYNC with a question mark.
That's what he put?
Yeah. Well, he said Hanson, but like I know Hanson.
He said Hanson?
Yeah. He said that's the first one that comes to mind.
Well, how did you phrase the question?
I said boy band of your generation, and then I put kid, like, kid generation. Like I should have said boy band of your kid generation.
Oh no, he interpreted that as a kid boy band, and that's why he said Hanson. That's why he said Hanson. You meant like when you were a kid. No, when you were a kid, what's the boy band of your generation?
Okay, he said, oh, New Kids on the Block.
There you go. See, that's how we know he's a slight tick of a generation above us.
Yeah, because that wasn't our shit.
If we're asked that question, 100%, we either go Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. It wouldn't even occur to us to say New Kids on the Block. That wouldn't even occur to us.
No, but to them, that was like they had all the bangers.
To them, that's the shit and to be fair, they're right if they say that's what birthed Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
But here's the thing, I think music is its own category, but we know New Kids on the Block. Like we're privy to that.
We do know
we
them.
Could name a song or two.
What's that?
Like we could name a song or two from New Kids on the Block.
Like if I heard a New Kids on the Block song, I'd be able to recognize it as a New Kids on the Block song.
Yes. And same thing, and like I said, I think music is different because like, you could get a fucking 15-year-old who's like the biggest Beatles fan ever or like Billy Joel fan or some shit. It's just weird with music. But like I'm sure if I asked him like what was a popular toy when you were a kid, he might say some like Teddy Ruxpin shit or something like that. And like I don't really know about the toy, but I would know of the toy. You know what I'm saying?
Another measure you could use for this? Video game systems.
I mean,
100% you could use that as a measure because you say it to Jed and he
would
might
say Nintendo,
original Nintendo, whereas you and me, I'm immediately saying like Super Nintendo or N64.
But I was fucking with Nintendo too with them. Like I was playing Nintendo with him. But I asked my cousin Josh, and he's 100% saying Atari.
There you go. See, then your cousin Josh is the cutoff for like.
Yeah,
and
I think it's like 36.
Hold up, I want to look up right now. What's the millennial generation? I typed that in. Okay, here we go. Baby boomers were born 1946 to 1964. Okay.
Hold on, say that again.
Baby boomers, so that's like our parents.
Yeah.
They were born from 1946 to 1964. And
now we weren't fucking with any of that shit.
Right now, like you hear the music they're into, and you're just like.
I fuck with some of it though. My dad used to have on the cassettes, like old school Dion and shit.
No, I do too, but it's so
Mad
rare that you can't even hit me. Like for our generation, if you hit me with just an artist, I could say I like their shit because I generally like all of their shit. If you hit me with anything from that generation, I could say, yes, I like a song from that artist. It's never like I like their shit.
There is a dude, Dion, though, who he makes bangers.
So their whole shit you like?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like,
I don't have that with anybody.
Usually it was like this one guy, Gene Papadopoulos, made one song like I love, the teenagers or something.
I love dicks. It was the name of his song.
That was just one banger.
It's just one. He's just singing about dicks
and proms.
Yeah. So, but that generation, like, okay, that's way removed from us. Then you have Generation X. This is interesting. Born 1965 to 1980.
That's a big jump. That's like a lot going on there. That like the 1960s people.
15 years, 65, 75, 80. Yeah. So if you're born in that time.
Yeah, but so many shit went on through those eras.
So the people who are Gen X are born from age, right now are age 38 to 53. That's Generation X.
38. Yeah, no. So what's the next shit before 38?
So then technically we're all millennials. Me, you.
38 and younger is a millennial?
No. No. Millennial is born 1981 to 1996. So the people who are millennials.
So yeah, no, that should go. What was it? 1981
to 1996.
That should go 1981 to 1991.
No,
like,
I disagree.
92 and after, those fucking kids don't know. They don't know about like Jankos. They don't know about like.
But they have just as much in common with us
Cookie.
as you have in common with your brother.
Say that one again.
Okay, so a kid, right? Let's say takes, just for argument's sake, somebody who's 25 years old right now. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They have just as much in common with us as you have in common with your brother, or as I have in common with my sister.
Nah,
100%.
I disagree, because I just broke it down with a 25-year-old, and I was like, you know about this shit? He was like, nah. I was like, you know about this shit then? He's like, nah.
But
I was like, so there is that big jump.
There's enough of an overlap, though. There's enough of, if you talk about enough shit, he's going to hit you with a bunch of shit that you guys are going to relate.
Nah, I disagree.
I'm telling you, there are conversations that, let's say, hypothetically, your brother can have with my sister, where they will understand each other 100% about some cultural shit, and me and you will be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think we'd have a gist of what they were talking about.
Nah, you're bugging a little bit, because
I don't think they could take it too far without us being like, you're speaking a different language right now.
We can relate to them on 65 to 70% of the shit that they're culturally aware of. But we cannot relate to them on that other however much percent is left.
I don't know.
I can't do the math.
I know exactly what my brother was like playing with and all the shit he was like into. I don't think he could hit me with some like, you don't remember me playing with this when I was 3 and you were 0.
I think you're overestimating your cultural connectedness with people who are older than us, and you're underestimating the cultural connectedness for people who are 5 years younger than us.
No, I know younger than us, they can't fuck with some of the shit that we put like.
Yeah, but you just hit them with some deep in the culture shit, dog. You hit them with like the graduate level, next level, like
Jankos and Pogs were next level.
Yeah, man.
If I hit him with some like Stretch Armstrong, he would have definitely been lost. Because Stretch Armstrong,
100%, because that's graduation shit. That's next level shit.
Stretch Armstrong was like in between my brothers, your sisters, and our age. You know. If I hit him with some like WWF, like Royal Rumble, like ringside shit, he would have been like, nah, I don't know what you know, like.
So
I could have took it next level on him.
See, here's the thing though. If you start breaking up, so you said it should be, what'd you say? 1981 to 1990. It should be
92.
Okay, so you're giving it a period
91,
of
92.
So you want 10-year generations, 11-year generations.
Yeah. Yes.
You don't like the 15, 20-year shit.
No.
Okay, apparently,
92,
according
I know
to
mad people that don't know shit.
According to what is this, mentalfloss.com?
That shit sounds fake as fuck.
Yeah, let's go to Wikipedia, see what Wikipedia says here.
Yeah, mental floss sounds like
some. Because I think there's a debate as to exactly where the lines begin and where the lines end. So here we go. Millennials are the demographic cohort following Generation X and preceding Generation Z. Researchers and popular media typically use the early 1980s as the starting birth years and the mid-1990s to early 2000s as the ending birth years. So some people argue that it's like 1980 to like 2002.
What? Nah.
That's millennials. That's what some people
argue. That shit
argue.
Sounds like bootyfloss.com or some shit.
No, I would agree with you that if they're hitting the 2000s, they've gone too far, for sure. But I would not argue against 1996 as the end date of millennial generation. I wouldn't argue against that. You
can't
like
go higher
earlier.
than 92.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. There was a time when if I heard you were born in the 1990s, I'd be like shocked by it. But now if I hear that somebody's born in the 1990s, I'm like,
I'm still shocked by that shit.
You are? 92, I'm not at all anymore.
91, 92, I'm like, all right, you have some street cred to you. 93 and above.
93 and above, Corin doesn't think you actually exist. Like, you're not actually real. Like, you're kind of a baby.
And above, you haven't lived through shit yet. Like, you're not an OG.
Yo,
like,
son,
you don't know about, like,
you're shitting on half our audience. Chill.
They don't know about shit. Like, and they should know that shit too. Like, they should respect the OGs.
No, so it's funny because I want to see the Generation X, like, what their lines are.
But I'm curious if my brother and like your sister can have a conversation with like my cousin who's a little older than them, who's like the jump from we are to our older siblings, and they could talk about some shit like, oh, you remember the Paul Maguire doll or some shit, and they're like, fuck, that was the shit. And if you had it in the box, it was the I'd be like, I don't even Paul Maguire doll, like
there's definitely
like,
some shit. There's definitely some shit they could connect on where me and you would be a little bit like, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
Like a 24, a 25, a 26-year-old, they don't know about a fucking Tickle Me Elmo and that shit being like the hottest shit ever.
Tickle Me Elmo, yeah, I remember that, dog.
My sister had, and I think still has, this one is gonna blow you away. And this shit was almost as popular as a Tickle Me Elmo doll. Your brain's going everywhere right now, but it's not about to go where I'm about to tell you.
Furby.
Nope. It was a Rosie O'Donnell doll.
I never heard of that.
It was the shit. Look it up. It was
Rosie O'Donnell doll.
It was the most popular fucking plush doll. That shit was exclusive. We had it in the box.
I see it. I never knew it was a thing.
That shit was like the hottest shit back in the day.
That's sort of hilarious.
They used to sell it at KB Toys, and like they were always out of that shit.
Rosie O'Donnell doll.
She used to have a TV show, right?
I do remember the TV show. Yes, I do. I remember that. And I remember her
Sally
and Trump
Jesse Raphael.
I remember Sally Jesse. Of course I remember Sally Jesse Raphael. I remember Maury, Jerry Springer.
Jenny Jones.
Jenny. I remember Jenny. I remember Jenny.
That was a fucking... Like, Jenny Jones is some shit that if you say that shit to a 26, 27, 28-year-old might not even know.
Now, you know what would make me feel old as fuck? If you bring up VHS tapes and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. That would actually, not only would I feel old as fuck, I'd feel slightly offended. Like, you don't know VHS tapes?
Yeah, if they don't know VHS tape, then they're gone to me.
I'm slightly offended at that.
Jenny Jones is my litmus test. So our
Jenny Jones is your litmus
Our audience,
test?
If you are an OG, don't lie. Keep it 100 and fucking 10%. I want a yes or no. Do you know what the Jenny Jones show was?
I feel like Sally Jesse Raphael was more known.
She was, but Jenny Jones was that under the radar shit. Like, you had to know about Jenny Jones.
Although, to be fair, I just checked it now. She was on from 91 to 2003, so she was on for a hot minute.
Jenny Jones was the shit, man.
I mean, that's a diesel, son. 91 to 2003, that's legit.
Jenny Jones was the shit.
All right, so let's finish up with Tiger Woods. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, not a lot of words. This shit was just like incredible. It's just super impressive. Like, there's a clip of him, and I don't think this is from after he won the Masters, but there's a clip of him. It might have been after he won the his first one, like his first shit.
I know what you're gonna say.
And it's all the haters like, oh, never do it. And
so,
he's sitting watching it on the iPad.
So to be fair, that video is actually fake. He's watching something else.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's fake. He's watching something else on the screen, but what they did is there's this thing called, I think, Scratch Golf or something, where they put all the haters talking about how Tiger's done.
Real?
What's that?
That's not real.
Yeah, it's fake. He was watching something else and reacting like that. He wasn't watching people shitting on him. But to be fair, he would react like that if he was watching a video of people shitting on him.
Yeah, he would make that same
video
same reaction.
Yeah, that video is legendary. Like,
they should do that. Why hasn't they?
Somebody should actually do that. Yeah, they should play for him. All the people saying he's never going to win again. He's done. It's over. He should retire. Yep. So many people who had no business, fucking had no idea what they're talking about. Jamel Hill or whatever her name is. Yeah. Fucking Mia Khalifa said it on a sports show. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, Woody Page said some shit.
Skip Bayless said some shit.
Skip. Yep.
Stephen A. Smith. Everybody had their moments of doubting Tiger, but if you said it forcefully, you don't know him. Like, you don't know him. I told you this story before, but I remember in 2008, that was when Tiger won the U.S. Open on a broken leg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He won a golf tournament on a broken leg, bitches. Like, what? That doesn't compute. Like, that's like crazy. He had surgery like the next day, dog. That's how fucked up his shit was. But my boy texted me. This was when Tiger was on the final green. He had a 15-foot putt to tie the lead and make it so that there's a playoff the next day where they play 18 holes, okay? He texted me, said, "You think he's going to make it?" I was like, no. Because he's made so many of these in his life that, like, you can't... At a certain point, you're going to miss one of these. You can't make every fucking clutch putt your entire... It just doesn't work like that. And also, the type of greens he was putting on, this is how much of a golf nerd I am. I know all this shit. It's a specific kind of grass, I think it was Poa annua, where it's bumpy in the end of the day. And it was the end of the day. And if it's bumpy, then your ball's not going to stay on the line that you picked. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to miss it. So I was like, he can't make it. Like, he's made so many of these, and he's going to miss one eventually. Yeah. And then he fucking made it. And it was that day that I said, I'm never going to bet against this dude again. Because he just always fucking finds a way. And people... Yeah,
it was incredible. Well, but I saw people writing on Twitter that Molinari sort of choked more than Tiger won it.
No, that's not true.
Into that?
Molinari definitely did... I wouldn't say choke, but he definitely did not play well on the back nine.
I'd never seen him play like that. Shoot it in the water, chunk the shit.
Well, no, actually, the shot that it looked like he chunked it in the water, it hit like a branch of a tree.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it wasn't as bad. Like, it looked like he straight up chunked it. He didn't. It hit like a tree and then went in the water.
And Tiger did everything he had to do to win. It's not like,
okay, so see, that's the thing is, let me break this down for everybody. First of all, it's not like nobody made a charge. In fact, it could be argued that the even better players made a charge. Because you had Dustin Johnson breathing down his neck on the back nine where he put a charge on, and you had Brooks Koepka put a charge on, and Brooks Koepka won 2 of the last 3 majors. Yeah. So if anything, there's argument the cream rose to the top and that the better players put the charge on.
Yeah, there are a lot of people at the top. Yeah.
And that Molinari, even though he's a beast, it wasn't like it was him or nobody. Like, no, so many good players put on... Fucking Jason Day put on a charge. He birdied 18, fucking got into the clubhouse at 11 under par. The thing that was so impressive is that Tiger played it like the veteran that he is. Mm-hmm. Like, whenever anybody else fucked up, he knew what to do. Yeah. So, on the par 5, hole number 15, when everybody else was fucking up, what did he do? He said, I'm going to put it 20 feet right of the hole, which is the safe shot, and I'm going to hit a little bit more club to make sure I get over the water. That's exactly what he did. The par 3, I think the 12th it is. 12th or 13th, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Brooks Koepka hit it in the water on that hole. Ian Poulter hit it in the water on that hole. Molinari steps up, hits it in the water on that hole. And I think Finau hit it in the water on that hole just before Tiger, too. So the last, 4 players all hit it in the water. So what does Tiger do? Middle of the green. No reason for me to go to the pin. It's a tucked pin on the right, which is dangerous. If you try to go with that, you could easily hit it in the water because the green's angled away from you. So, you'd have to carry it further to get it to the pin. So he's like, I'll take the middle of the green. He hit it to the middle of the green. 2-putt out of there with a par. Everybody else is making bogeys or doubles. So he played it like the veteran that he is. and he kept his, like, he was intelligent about the whole thing, and he executed and pulled it off. Mm-hmm. And then when he almost made a hole-in-one on 16, what?
Yeah.
Son, everything was coming together like it was fucking fate, like it was destiny.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's incredible how it works out for him. Even on that last day of the FedEx Cup, how everything almost aligned for him. You just know that like it was gonna be like, it feels special. It feels like he can almost like rattle off like his next major, the next shit.
So that's the next point. You ready for this? I hope everybody's sitting down. That was not his A game.
Mm-hmm.
There, I said it. That was not his A game, son, because he missed a lot of putts that were like 10 feet and in throughout the entire week.
Yep.
Tiger Woods does not miss those putts. So in the entire field, he was ranked like fucking 80-something in 10 feet and in. He was whack with the shorter putts. So if he makes 3 of those, 4 of those, think about that for a second. He won by 1 stroke. But if he made 3 of those or 4 of those, then it's a 5-stroke victory, a 4-stroke victory. Mm-hmm. And what people don't know is, like, and this is part of the reason why he's so impressive and why I've always, from when I was young, it was like some idol shit, because he's the clutchest fucker on the planet. Like, I remember when his dad died. And his dad was like the main reason he played golf, and his dad wasn't just his dad, it was also his best friend. And so he was really, really impacted by that. Mm-hmm. And the very next tournament was actually in our county in New York. It was at Wingfoot Golf Club, and it was 2006. His dad had just died. It was his first major back. You know what he did? He missed the cut. And you know what every pundit was saying? They're like, it's a wrap. And why is it a wrap? I mean, think about it. His dad was the main reason he played this sport, main reason he loved this sport. It was his like drive. He always was trying to like impress his dad and win for his dad. Mm-hmm. And now that's all gone. So what did Tiger do?
He flipped his mindset now, and he's playing for his son. So now he's about to rattle mad shit off.
Well, what did Tiger do after that miscut?
Mm-hmm.
He won the next, I forget whether it was 6 or 8 tournaments in a row. So he missed the cut. Everybody was like, oh, he's obviously done. Then he won the next 6 or 8 in a row, which for those of you out there who don't know this, that does not happen in golf. That's not a thing. There's no such thing as like, even like fucking back-to-back wins, 2 wins. That doesn't happen in golf. That shit is so fucking rare, you have no idea, because it's a field of over 100 people, and it's so fucking hard, and you have no teammates. You can't pass the ball to anybody. You can't, like, it's the chances of you winning a golf tournament, because there's over 100 people in the field, is 1 in less than 100. And he won fucking 6 to 8 in a row? That doesn't fucking happen, son.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's that one little story I told you. Mm-hmm. There's a dozen of those. So like when he had his kids, they were like, he's gonna be done. He changed his swing 4 times, son. And what people were saying after the first swing change, they were like, you're insane. You just won the Masters by 12 strokes in 1997, and you're gonna change your swing? You just won the Masters by 12 strokes, you fucking idiot. Why would you change it? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then fast forward to 1999, 2000, 2001, he has arguably the best stretch of golf ever played, where he won the Tiger Slam, 4 majors in a row. Mm-hmm. So every time people doubted him, he was just like, I'm gonna fucking prove you wrong a million ways. Yeah, and that's what he does, and that's what's so fucking impressive.
Yeah, he's on some next level shit. I mean, like he's gonna break Jack's record.
You think so? Damn, that's a bold prediction, dude.
Well, I think he flipped his father in a weird way into his son and daughter, you know?
Okay, so you're saying he's got a reason to play again.
Yeah, so like the way he like hugged his son and the way he hugged his daughter is almost just like he transitioned his mindset into now like I'm doing this for them.
He's doing
where
it for
it's
them.
like now it's some second coming type of shit where it's like he could slaughter that shit where it's like he wins like 30 fucking majors or something like that.
So this is how bad it got. I think and fact check me on these numbers, but I think there were 4 back surgeries, and I think 3 knee surgeries, and then maybe throw in a neck surgery to boot.
And a dick surgery.
In some of those surgeries, after some of those back surgeries, he literally couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Like, he was bedridden. And this was only like 2 years ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago. He couldn't fucking walk, dude. So you mix that with he had a pill addiction because he was in so much pain because he had nerve pain in his back. And then what happened was the thing that actually fixed him was the spinal fusion. He had his his spinal. That's a Mike Tyson reference, those of you who don't know. He had his lower back fused because the surgeries weren't working where he still had nerve pain. So he did this thing which they had no idea if he would still be able to play golf after they fused his back because they didn't know if he'd have the same rotation. So he was able to, after being addicted to pills, being a fucking sex addict and having sex with every woman on the planet.
Yeah, we can't disregard that. I mean, like, he did cheat on his wife and like.
Yeah. So some of the fucking downfall was self-inflicted. Like, some of it was self-inflicted. Mm-hmm. But outside of the self-inflicted shit, there was the pill addiction, the fucking zillion surgeries, and then he still came back and won majors.
Yeah, it's a great story. Don't get me wrong, the guy's a multi-fucking billionaire. Like, but it's cool to see someone, you know, in a way, I said it like this. It's almost just like he's a living Truman Show. You know, we see every part of his life, every aspect of his life.
If Hollywood wrote up his story and he didn't exist, people would say this is too ridiculous. Like, there's no way this is real. This is too crazy. This is too insane. This wouldn't happen. And it would be rejected. But
yeah, and it's still going on. I mean, like, it
ain't over.
Still, yeah.
By the way, one more win ties. So Jack Nicklaus has 18 majors. That's the most majors in golf. Okay. Mm-hmm. Tiger now has 15. But Jack only has 73 wins total. Tiger has 81 wins total. So Tiger has more overall wins than Jack Nicklaus does.
Yeah.
It's just that Jack Nicklaus has more majors. But there's one person who has actually more wins than Tiger, overall wins than Tiger, and that's Sam Snead. But all Tiger needs to tie Sam Snead, Cor?
Yeah.
One more.
Oh, yeah, that's he could do that while he's sleeping.
And then two obviously beat Sam Snead.
He should just fucking play in like the Chuck E. Cheese Open and like get that shit.
Chuck E. Cheese Open? No, he's playing a limited schedule because he's still sore and shit now because he's older. Yeah. But he'll still take shots at the bigger events. He's not going to
for sure.
He's not going to bitch out and go over to some lower event and fucking win there. But anyway.
Imagine he was just playing against fucking dildo guys and he just wins by like 40 strokes.
He comes and plays at my club in like the club championship.
He's like, that's it. I did it. I beat Sam Snead.
I shoot like 87 and he shoots like 65. He's like, sorry.
He comes to like my local putt.
Miniature golf event. Like, this counts, right? Did I win?
Oh.
All right, let's call it a night, man. We did a way longer thing than we were supposed to. All right, guys. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Don't go to Corin's World and watch that shit.
Oh, yeah. Go to Corin's World, everybody. Go subscribe to Corin. He's pumping out content on the regular, so go enjoy it. Anyway, love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.